Okay, let me try to get the biggest smile that I can. This has been and is a historic, transformative day for the city of Houston. You know, we've been wrestling. The city's been wrestling with pensions and pension reforms and the rising costs for 15 years or more. And I just want to start off by thanking the members of City Council for the vote that they gave today. Everyone, it was a very a strong vote, and on a very tough, complicated issue that means a great deal to the people in this city and to every single employee. And so I want to thank the members of City Council for their strong support and backing of this pension plan. I want to thank all of the employee representative groups, the firefighters pension board, police pension board, the municipal employee pension boards, for the positions that they have taken. We've been negotiating for 10 months on these pension issues. They have represented their respective employee groups, and they have come forward. And for the first time in the history that we've been dealing with this subject matter, all three of the employee pension groups are now we're on the same page, working together with the members, the mayor and the City Council as we move towards the legislature. I want to thank all of the employees of the City of Houston, especially our police officers, our firefighters, our municipal workers, for their understanding, for their patience, and for their service. Because this plan would not be possible without them stepping up in a major way. This unfunded liability is now up to $7.8 billion. For them to modify, adjust their benefit packages in order to reduce that unfunded liability from day one after this plan is approved by nearly a third, $2.5 billion, is huge. This plan does not call for the raising of anybody's property rates at all. Property rates are not going to have to be raised in order to fund this plan. It is a cost-neutral plan when you factor everything in. We are now treating our pensions like we are treating a mortgage on our homes, and I think most people can understand that. When they are paying their monthly payments, they expect the principal to go down over a 30-year period, and that's exactly what is happening here. Where in the past it was open-ended, now when we are making our annual payments, then the mortgage payment, if you will, on pensions will be going down. It is a 30-year closed amortization. We are reducing the discount rate from 8% or 8.5 to 7, which is more realistic. And at the same time, we're putting in a mechanism to control and contain future costs so that we don't have to face a situation 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years from now in terms of how do we adjust it. If costs start to tick up, then all parties are obligated to come back to the table and make the necessary adjustments to stay within those defined limits. And that's major. And if that mechanism had been put in place 15 years ago, we would not be where we are today. Is it the perfect plan? No. But is it a darn good plan? Absolutely yes. And is it in the best interest of the people in the city of Houston? Yes. And is it a model for other major cities throughout the country? And the answer is undeniably yes. Because you will be hard-pressed to find any major city that's facing pension problems that has a plan that is more comprehensive, that is more long-term and sustainable than the one that the City of Houston approved today. And as Mark Watts from the Greater Houston Partnership wrote in his op-ed the other day, this plan can certainly be the model for other cities across the country, and that's exactly what we've done today. So this is a major, historic, transformative day for the City of Houston as a whole. A complicated issue, and it strikes a delicate balance. And what I mean by that, employees want certainty, They're getting certainty of this plan. But at the same time, they don't want us to undermine their pensions and their retirement. This plan doesn't undermine it, but it strikes a delicate balance of providing their benefits, but at affordable rates, and it's a sustainable plan. So very, very proud. I certainly want to give a tremendous amount of credit to the individuals who are standing behind me, to Kelly Dow, the finance director, to Jennifer Olenek, and to Ron Lewis, the city attorney. I want to give a tremendous amount of credit to this team and those who work for them, because they are the ones who have made this day possible in providing the city council members and other groups with all the information that they needed. They are the ones who have been working with the actuaries. And let me assure you, there is no plan that has been actuarially studied more than this one here, by many different quadrants throughout the city. So I want to thank them for putting something together that the City Council voted 16-1 today to approve. Having said that, I'll stop and take whatever questions you may have.
Mayor Turner, this is a huge day, obviously, for the city and also for you. Next step, I guess, is to punt it to the state legislature. Is there support in the state legislature, and what do you think in terms of getting it passed? What's the timeline? From the
legislators that I have talked with, the responses have been very positive. Senator Joan Huffman will be carrying the bill, the omnibus pension bill, in the Senate, and I visited with her several times about it, and her comments have been favorable. Chairman Dan Flynn will be carrying the omnibus, the big pension bill, on the House side, and I've had several conversations with him, and of course I've worked with both of them over a number of years, and their comments have been favorable. What they have asked for from day one is for the city of Houston to bring forward something that works, something that's sustainable, that's not just short-term but long-term, something that they felt comfortable would contain rising costs, if costs should rise in the future, and something that would create a definable system, cost-neutral, okay, where it's not dependent on rising property rates. And on all of those boxes, we can check all of those boxes. And they wanted something they recognized that Houston's solution would be unique to Houston. Dallas' solution would be unique to Dallas, okay, as well as some of the other cities. So I feel confident that as they review this plan, the plan that we are submitting, with the strong support coming from City Council, with unanimity coming from the employee pension boards, and the mayor and the city council, and with members from the business community, then this becomes Houston plan, not my plan. It becomes Houston's plan, and I strongly believe that they will support it.
Do you have concerns whether or not, Mayor, that some firefighter folks might want to try to kill it in the legislative level, or could get vetoed by the governor, or have you made?
No, I don't have those concerns. The reality is that what as one legislator put it to me, I think the question will be, did we go far enough? So I think people will have to be very, very careful if you try to tinker with this either way. There will be some who would say we didn't go far enough. There were some who say we went too far. Well, we didn't go far enough, we went too far. I think we've struck the right balance.
And the firefighters who, I think that they've just been on social media just expressing their displeasure, I guess would be do you say, hey, look, at least we're not putting in a 401k, which
no,
I guess, what do you say?
What I would say to you is that there are 3,800 plus firefighters. I don't think, let's not take the view that one or two or a few, maybe speaking for the entire 38. I've heard from many firefighters who say that they think that this is a good plan. I've heard from many. No plan is going to satisfy everybody 100%. If you're looking for 100% unanimity, that's just not going to happen. But the Firefighters Pension Board, which has never voted for any changes, not one dime, not one modification, they voted 7-2. So let's focus on the fact that it was a strong majority. 7-2, I think, is a pretty good vote. That's just like members of City Council today. We voted 16-1. Are we going to spend a whole lot of time, talking about the 1? Or are we going to thank the 16? Okay, so we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the 2? Or are we going to spend a lot of time giving emphasis to the 7? And are we going to spend the time with the fact that we didn't please everybody, but we pleased 75% or 80% of everybody, of the rest? It depends on how you choose to read it. You know, I don't think you're going to find in any democracy, very seldom when 100% of the people will say, okay, we're on board. But does it does it benefit the overwhelming number of individuals? Does this plan benefit firefighters? The answer is yes. Does it benefit police officers? The answer is yes. Does it benefit municipal workers? The answer is yes. Does it benefit Houstonians and ratepayers? The answer is yes. Now, if you seek the perfect and overlook the good, you're going to end up with nothing. And if you end up with nothing, it doesn't benefit firefighters, police officers, municipal workers, or the people in the city of Houston.
Are there any specific major cuts or changes in the pension for new firefighters or police officers that you can just name for us in general?
Well, there have been modifications to all three with regards to their COLAs. And the COLAs is the largest cost driver, and the drop. And at some point in time on all three, the drop will disappear. And each one has a different number for that.
Can you explain to Houstonians who don't know what you're talking about?
Okay. For example, if you, when you're getting ready to, if you're an active employee anticipating retirement, you've been working there for 20 years, you can start putting money into like a drop account while you continue to be an active employee. Under the current system, you can get COLAs on the drop, the money that's in the drop, let's say in fire, and you can still get COLAs once you retire. Okay. But it's like you're banking after 20 years, but you're continuing to be an employee. So it's almost like setting up a retirement account while you're still an active employee. In many ways, in some cases, you can end up working and your retirement check could be larger than what you got while you were an active employee. In some cases, not in all. This plan makes some adjustments to that. And then what this plan says, after you're a firefighter, all existing firefighters continue to hold drop, for example. But at the end, there will not be a drop for firefighters, for example, that are coming in after and for the 20 years. For police officers, you continue to have drop for 7 years. And I think for the municipal workers, they continue to have drop for about another 15 years, and then it eliminates. And so, you know, and I'm quite familiar with it because when you look back in the early 90s, you know, I was instrumental in putting the drop program into place on the House side. Okay, but the reality is where we are now, the city cannot sustain the cost. And so you can have a good plan. I mean, you can have a good deal, but if the city can't pay for it, then when you go to the mailbox, the check may not be there. At least under this plan, what we are doing today, what I can say without a doubt to all of my employees, especially to the retirees, your retiree check is not going down. Whatever you're getting today, it's not going to be decreased because of what we are doing. What I can say under this plan, if adopted by the legislature, that when employees do retire, they can count on their retirement check being in the mail. That's something that I can say. So there's certainty. What I can say is that this issue doesn't have to be a political football every single year now. We're taking the politics out. And it is a plan that is definable, that is sustainable, and it's something that you can rely on, unlike the status quo today. Okay? That's the good news. And then what the taxpayers are getting in return is that we know we placing a cap on the city's exposure, financial exposure. We're placing a cap on that. We're controlling future costs. We're not raising your property tax rates. It's cost neutral, okay? That's what the taxpayers are getting. And we're gonna treat it like your mortgage. And I'm certain people can understand that when we are making the annual payments, the cost of this overall plan is going down over 30 years. It's a 30-year closed amortization. So there are no perfect plans, okay? There are no perfect plans. And I can say I have not seen one plan being proposed by anybody, that reduces the unfunded liability right now by $1. When this plan, when it is passed, reduces the unfunded liability by $2.5 billion. And next year, if this plan is approved, the cost avoidance for the city is $217 million. No one has presented any plan that reduces that $7.8 billion by $1 right now. Not one. And for those who argue, let's place all the new employees into a defined contribution, we've modeled that plan. The city would not receive any benefit by placing new hires in a defined contribution plan for 30 years. Not 3 years, 30 years. Well, how does the city function for 30 years? Okay. So when you have some naysayers out there saying, oh, we need to shift to a defined contribution, then ask them to show you their actuary tables as when the city can derive a benefit, and it's 30 years. Ask the naysayers, for example, how much of this unfunded liability you are reducing, that $7.8 billion, and they can't tell you $1. This one is $2.5 billion, not million. $2.5 billion automatically drops off that unfunded liability from the day this pension plan is passed without raising anyone's taxes. So where all these critics, tell them to come forth with a plan that achieves the benefits that are being derived here, and that where the police officers and employees, municipal employees, and the firefighters, at least the pension boards, have come together, and there's not a rush to the door. Because bear in mind, we have 5,300 police officers, and about 1,900 of them are eligible to retire today. So whatever plan you're going to put together has to have some buy-in from your different employee groups in order for the city to continue to function well. And that's what this plan does. It's a delicate balance. What I've said to the employee groups, and what I've said to members of City Council, and I continue to say today, it's a delicate balance. What we approve today is what needs to be approved in Austin. This is what I'm presenting. This is what we're standing by. And if there's any attempt to substantially change the deal, it throws the whole system off.
Mayor, how's the city going to lobby in Austin in favor of the proposal?
Well, no one is all about education. And I think the city took a bold step today. I mean, the vote was 16-1. Okay? And I think what's important to note, this is not about, one side or party versus another. This is about what is in the best interest of this city, and what's in the best interest of Houstonians, what's in the best interest of our firefighters and police officers and our city employees. That's what this issue is about. Okay? Now, let me just say this. You don't get too many shots at this. Okay? You don't get too many shots. Let's not overlook the fact that it's in 15 years, pension costs have been rising. We have not been able to come together as a group in 15 years. Let's not lose the significance of that. And as of today, when we're talking about City Council, when we're talking about the employee pension board, and even with members of the business community, the Greater Houston Partnership there, OptEd, okay? We're on the same page. So let's not lose sight of the significant benefits and focus on the fact that you may have a few out there who may be saying no, when they're not coming forth with a plan of their own. But I certainly want to thank the firefighters, and I want to thank the police officers and the municipal workers, and I want to say to them, this is a plan that they can be proud of, and this is a plan that will provide them with certainty and will remove this issue from being a political football for years to come. Okay? Anything else? So, historic, yes. Transformational, absolutely. Fiscally sound and conservative, yes. Budget neutral, yes. And can it be done, and will it be done without raising your property rates? Yes. Okay? And will the unfunded liability of $7.8 billion be reduced by almost a third, $2.5 billion from day one without raising your taxes? Yes. And is there any other plan out there that can boast about the same benefits without raising taxes, provide certainty? Absolutely not. And anyone who says otherwise are not speaking in the best interest of the city of Houston, and they want us to burn. And I refuse. And I think what City Council said today, this is not about burning. This is about building a city now and for the future generations of Houstonians in this city. And again, I want to thank each member of City Council for their support and for their vote. This is not my deal. This is our deal. And we're going to work to build this city together. And we took a major, major step today. And I'm just bubbling over on the inside. I'm just tickled pink, whatever you want to call it, because, you know, please, let me just, I am just excited as excited can be. Because when we started this journey 10 months ago, there were people said that it couldn't be done on the pension issue. I know what's happening down the street in Dallas. Take a look at where Dallas is. And they're struggling on their pension issue. Take a look at where Chicago is. Take a look at where Detroit is and some of these other major cities. And now take a look at where the city of Houston is today. And it speaks to the boldness and the transformative nature of this city. And on this day, I could not be more proud to be a Houstonian than today. And I think a lot of other people can say the same. So thank you so very much. Appreciate you.
Mayor, I've got a couple of non-pension questions.
Oh man,
I know you had your closing speech.
I mean, that was my closing. I mean, now I got the rest.
Ask about the football teams, Mayor.
Oh, the football teams. Okay. Oh no.
No, that's a
Go
terrible-
Cougs. You know. I'm still with the Cougs. I'm still with them. That last loss was directly related to the Big 12 lack of vision and leadership. And when that happened, when the Big 12 said no, our coach staff, the players were deflated, and they said, okay, what the heck, you know? And but having said that, that's out of our system. That's out of our system. And so the Cougs now rising up again. And go Cougs, go Coach Tom Herman, go to the rest of the players. You know, let's kick. You know what I want to say. The next game, and we're moving forward. Same thing with the Texans.
This is a football-related question.
Oh, okay.
We have a lot of projects pending, especially on the east side of downtown. There's a lot of infrastructure work
Right.
happening around the NRG Stadium. The original completion date for some of these items was, September, October.
Right.
It's
Correct.
still pending. Are we going to be ready for the game? Or are you concerned about some of this stuff that's still pending?
We're going to be ready. I mean, some of the things were scheduled to be completed September, October. It's been pushed down to like November, December. And then I think the last items will be completed in January. What's completed in January?
Restaurants.
The restaurants that be on the first floor of the George R. Brown will be completed in January. So let's say by January, some point in January, all the construction and everything will be completed and we'll be ready to go. We'll be set.
So you're not concerned about that?
They have no
Cutting
choice,
it close.
Mike, they have no choice but to get it done. There is no option. I don't think they're going to delay the Super Bowl. So they'll be ready. And Councilmember Stardick, I want her to go out there and get them in shape, and the Mayor Pro Tem will be out there, and we'll get it done. No, they will be ready.
And then I had a couple of questions from colleagues. Have you talked to any, we've talked about HISD Prop 1 here a few times. Have you
Yes.
talked to any legislators about the likelihood of them offering bills to reform school finance or the Robin Hood system? Have you checked in on that?
There's a lot of angst. I mean, I would tell you that when the Texas Supreme Court ruled that the system was constitutional, but that the legislature should fix it, people were disappointed with that opinion because, frankly, the legislature, when I left in 2015, everyone was anticipating the Supreme Court saying the system was unconstitutional, and then that would give you the that push to fix it. So the Texas Supreme Court kind of took the pressure off. Now Houston finds itself facing recapture. For those, when it was put in place at the time, no one ever anticipated Houston was going to be in recapture. And then after Houston comes San Antonio, and then comes Dallas. No one anticipated that. And so either solution is not a good one. Let me just start off by saying that. Voting to send $160 million from Houston to the state to be redirected someplace else from HISD, not a good deal, okay? At the same time, if you're talking about not sending 160, but TEA, the state coming in and taking a commercial property and reassigning it to another district outside of Harris County, and they taking on a higher property rate, that's not attractive. The reality is the legislature needs to fix it. My preference is, no, we're not going to voluntarily agree to send $160 million. The legislature should fix it. And the legislature that I know, I think people are sensitive to it, and I believe they will address it if they have to. So my preference is to vote no, and to respectfully request the legislature to make whatever adjustments they need to make.
And then last question, the city's undertaken an initiative to mark more intersections as, don't block the box, block the intersection. Are you painting the squares to not have people at rush hour sit there as the light turns green in the middle? So are you anticipating directing any enforcement resources that direction?
That's a new one. I'm not familiar.
Block the box.
Block the box.
Right outside City Hall. So that people
Don't stop in the middle of the square. Here.
Yeah.
Chief talked to Doug about this.
I'm not.
We've passed those concerns along to the downtown traffic management system, and they're going to be looking at that and ensuring that we can try to keep those buses. It's not just the buses, it's any motorist at the busy intersections that are a cause of the various construction activities that are going on with the freeway system. So it's under, we're aware of it and we're moving it.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike, that one got me. I was trying to tie it to the pension issue to get it.
Do you have any thoughts about the general election? Any advice to voters about voting early or anything like that?
Well, certainly, I encourage people to vote. I encourage people to vote early. That's critically important, and I encourage them to vote for this pension plan. Not currently on the ballot, but But look, everybody should exercise their democratic right. I would tell you, I was asked to go and campaign in Florida last weekend. I passed on that because my focus right now is singularly on dealing with the issues pertaining to the city of Houston. And the pension issue was number one, first and foremost. That's where my head is. That's where my priority is. And I elected to stay here and continue to work on the pension issue. But I do encourage people to vote. I voted on yesterday, and hopefully other people will do the same. Okay. And again, thank you, Councilmember Martin. I know he chairs the Pensions and Debt Service Committee, and I want to thank you. I thank you for your leadership on this issue. Same thing, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, and Councilmember Stardick is chair of Homeland Security and Public Safety. So thank you very, very much. Okay. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is what they're related to. I don't know.